Today we're going to dive into rookie shortstop for the Colorado Rockies, Ezequiel Tovar, but not in the way you'd think. None of his 2022 Leaf Trinity Auto Relic cards actually come from authentic player-worn Rockies jerseys, calling into question both Leaf's quality control and every other patch card that claims to be player-worn. This is Ezequiel Tovar, rookie shortstop for the Colorado Rockies in the 2023 baseball season. He hit 15 homers for a batting average of .253 in 153 games in 2023, is a Gold Glove finalist as of the making of this video, and if it weren't for an abysmal April, it would have been a solid Rookie of the Year candidate. He's going to be the next Troy Tulowitzki or Nolan Arenado at shortstop for the Rockies. These are two of Tovar's hits that were thrown to me and I caught in early 2023. The first was thrown to me by the eventual World Series champions Rangers first baseman in spring training, and the other was a Tovar hit thrown to me by the Diamondbacks left fielder at a Rockies home game April 28, 2023. The good news is that that hit scored, but the bad news was that it was the only hit to score in a blowout loss at home to the eventual National League champions. But this video isn't entirely to celebrate my souvenir Tovar hits or even just to focus on his baseball cards. No, this video is all about blowing the lid off what might be the biggest scandal in baseball since the 1918 Black Sox. I collect patch auto cards, which are small swatches of supposedly player-worn uniform, with that player's auto on the front. I especially seek out Colorado Rockies patch auto cards, partly because the Rockies are my home team, and I've been a fan since their first season 30 years ago, in 1993. But also because the Rockies are statistically one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball, year in and year out. Player autograph cards can be had for the figurative song, from $1 for an auto of a prospect from 10 years ago, or maybe $20 to $30 for the auto of the biggest stars of some of the Rockies' better years in the past, like Nolan Arenado or Todd Helton. Compare that to thousands for a rookie auto of some of the game's modern stars like Shohei Ohtani, or heroes of yesteryear like Ken Griffey Jr. A company called Leaf produces some of the most interesting autograph cards, with jumbo patches that sometimes feature part of the uniform lettering, the laundry tag from inside collar, or commemorative patches. These patches are also 4 times as large as the usual patches on other companies' cards, like Topps. So, from the perspective of optics, these cards are like 2x3 inch pieces of art, surely suitable for framing and colorful to display. The trick is that only the biggest baseball card producing company, Topps Fanatics, has the license to use photos of players in their official uniforms with official MLB logos. That means that companies like Leaf have to either feature the player in a shot that doesn't show any logos, including the helmet or cap, or they must Photoshop out any proprietary logos. As a side note, recently Fanatics inked a major exclusive deal with Major League Baseball Players Association, giving them a virtual monopoly on all player images and team names starting next year, meaning that companies like Leaf will either go out of business or may only use the images of former players. The key is that these patches all say on the front of the card that it contains an authentic signature of the player depicted and player-worn patch. And that's where the 2022 Leaf Trinity Ezequiel Tovar auto patch cards come in. I'm always on the lookout for Rockies Leaf Trinity auto patch cards on eBay for a good deal. And after the 2022 edition was released to card stores on September 30th, 2023, yes, 2022 cards, don't get me started on the release date delays, my eBay searches were flooded with hits. Previously, I'd been having a hard time finding an Ezequiel Tovar auto card at all for a reasonable price. I budget myself for about $5 to $10 per card. But now there were a bunch. This is the first one I saw, and I was able to pick it up for less than $10. It had a sick cut of some curvy uniform lettering, which is normally difficult to get a deal. Usually patch cards have a swatch of blank white fabric, which is kind of uninspiring. The swatch was on a white background, So far so good, because Rockies often wear white uniforms. But the trick was that the lettering was rounded blue letter with red or orange border, rather than the lettering you would normally find on a Rockies uniform, which is usually purple and silver lettering in a trademarked Rockies font that is similar to the Bimbo bold font, which is widely available for public use. Despite the inconsistent lettering and coloring, I kept looking, because where else was I going to find Tovar autos for under $10, especially in bulk, since hobby stars and online card rippers were flooding the market with these less desirable players while they were ripping packs looking for the star autos. So I got this. And this, all with red or orange and blue color schemes. Could they have cut up a uniform for when Tovar played for the Rockies minor league affiliate, Spokane Indians or Fresno Grizzlies, which at least have some red or orange in their uniforms? Or I thought it could be from an alternate uniform when the minor league teams celebrate Mexican Heritage Night or Pride Night. Either way, I was starting to suspect that there was no legitimate reason for the incompatible coloring. Then I started seeing logo patches like this, and I knew exactly what happened. These were New York Mets uniforms and Mets logos and Mets commemorative patches. The thing is, Ezequiel Tovar has never played for the Mets. Heck, he's barely played against the Mets since this was his first year in the big leagues. How could any of these patches ever come from a player-worn uniform if Ezequiel Tovar has never worn a Mets uniform? Years ago, when player-worn patches were much less common, the cards would specify the patch was from game-worn uniforms of this player. And sometimes they would even specify which game it was worn in. Now, the most you can get is player-worn. But this proves that the patch came from a uniform that this player never wore, contrary to what is explicitly stated on the card, and preceded by the word authentic. The catch is, I guess, that it just says a player, and it could be any baseball player from any team, or even a player from a different sport, like a chess player wearing a Mets jersey picked up at Goodwill. Another problem with Leaf 2022 Trinity patch cards is that it appears every one of these patch cards feature unique lettering or commemorative patches. Normally, these things occupy a small percentage of the surface of the jersey, right? Since the majority of a jersey is normally just like a solid color, when a jersey is cut up, 90% of the swatches will only be from a solid background color, like purple or boring white for the Rockies. The lettering of the team on front, or the player name on the back, will be cut up and used only for the premium cards because they're much rarer, or supposed to be, and any commemorative patches, usually only one per jersey for any particular player, would be reserved for the ultra rare and ultra valuable one-of-one cards. But every single card I bought, heck, every card I saw for sale on eBay, had some portion of lettering or commemorative patch. What's more, these commemorative patches were only used on jerseys in certain years. This one was only worn in 2004, this one in 2007, this one in 2009, and this one in 2011 of the Mets 1986 World Series. There's no way any current player could have worn these jerseys. Not any modern Mets player, and certainly not any Rockies player like Ezequiel Tovar. My suspicion is that none of these uniforms were ever worn by Ezequiel Tovar, because even if they sent him a box of Mets jerseys to throw on really fast, Tovar would look at them and literally scoff. Even if he didn't have the loyalty issues against wearing another team's jersey, even for a moment, is probably against the terms of his MLB contract, and certainly not good publicity. Now, while I, perhaps naively, believe Tovar may have actually thrown on some Rockies jerseys on the same day he was signing the autograph stickers, those uniforms somehow got lost and mixed up with other Mets players' jerseys. But the amazing thing is that throughout the entire process of mailing or delivering jerseys to Tovar, getting them back and processing them at Leaf's Carrollton, Texas offices, and the entire manufacturing process and packaging and delivering them to thousands of stores across the U.S., not a single Leaf employee noticed the mix-up. Way to go, quality control! Bottom line is that I got Tovar autos and some colorful pieces of art for under $10 each, and some fun conversation pieces and a topic for a video. But for anyone out there paying big bucks for the Leaf Trinity box or possibly any other company's patch cards, this may be proof that the patch you get may not have been worn by the player depicted. And given the statistically unlikely prevalence of lettering and commemorative patch swatches, they may never have been worn by any player at all. In the end, however, I will never get over that an entire company, through their manufacturing and shipping process, produced hundreds of cards with such glaring errors that baseball fans would notice in a heartbeat, but not a single person at the company which makes these cards spotted the problem. They probably won't even know until this video goes viral worldwide and the millions of views force them to admit the error or try to cover up the scandal of what really happened with Ezequiel Tovar Patches. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how you feel about this and whether you feel you've been used when you try to seek out player-worn patches.